Allahu, 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 Allah, Allahu, 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 Allah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah. Wa anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. So the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he arrived in Quba and he was staying in the house of Kulthum ibn al-Hidam or ibn al-Hidm. And one of the first things he did is that he established a Masjid Quba. So that was the first masjid to be built in Islam. And also, like I said, there was a few events which happened here which are worthwhile of mentioning. They're worthwhile of mentioning. People used to come and visit the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but also the people who are in Medina already. This was a big change of events for them. So, as we're going to see, Medina as a society, it was mainly made up of the Arabs and the Jews. The Arabs, the two main tribes of Al-Aws and Al-Khazraj. Al-Aws and Al-Khazraj. And then you have the Jews, who are divided into 3 or 4 different tribes: Banu Nadir, Banu Qaynuqa, the other one was, someone help me? Banu Nadir, Banu Qaynuqa, and Banu Qurayda. Ahsan, very good. And Banu Qurayda. The Jews had been in Medina for a long time. They were not new. They had been there for a long time. And they had a great influence on the people. So the coming of the Prophet ﷺ, it was a great event for everybody. For some, or for most actually, it was positive. For some, it was not so positive. But one of the things which happened, and I have to mention these events and then we go back, and the Prophet ﷺ is going to leave Quba and go to Medina itself now, and then we'll talk about the benefits we learn or the lessons we learn from the Hijrah. This is the time when a man called Hussein ibn Salam, who was a Jewish rabbi, the son of a Jewish rabbi, when he heard about this man who had come, and because he was a rabbi, he was well read, and we saw one of the verses of the Old Testament which we read today, the book of Habakkuk. It mentions that this great prophet, and this is the prophet all nations were waiting for, because he was the chosen one, the last prophet, the best of them all. That is why Nuh alayhi salam spoke about him, Ibrahim alayhi salam spoke about him, Musa alayhi salam spoke about him, and Isa alayhi salam spoke about him. The chosen prophet is mentioned in the Torah and the Injil. So since he was a Jewish rabbi, he had an understanding that this prophet was supposed to come and arise from this area. That's why some of the Jews moved to Medina in the first place, because the prophet, the chosen one, was supposed to come about from that area. So when they heard the Arabs saying, our prophet is coming, our prophet is coming, this man, he left Medina and he went to Quba to see this man who says he's a prophet. When he got there, he says, immediately I saw him I recognized from his features that he is not a liar. Before he talked to him, before he said anything to him, he said, when I just saw him, عرفت أن وجهه ليس بوجه كذاب. I know that the face I'm looking at is not the face of a liar. This guy is not lying. So I went to him, he says, and the first thing I heard him saying, the Prophet ﷺ was telling the people, أيها الناس, O people, أفشوا السلام وأطعموا الطعام وصلوا الأرحام وصلوا بالليل والناس نيام تدخلوا الجنة بسلام. O people, أفشوا السلام, spread the salam, the greetings of peace and peace, because Islam is a religion of peace. وأطعموا الطعام, and give people food. وصلوا الأرحام, and connect and stay good with your relatives. وصلوا بالليل والناس نيام, and pray at night when the people are sleeping. When you do these things, تدخلوا الجنة بسلام, you shall enter Jannah, paradise, in a peaceful way. These were the first words the Prophet ﷺ was teaching people. This man he heard. He says, so I went to him and I said to him, I'm going to ask you questions which nobody can answer except a real prophet. And he asked him 3 questions. Question number 1, he said to him, what is the first food which the people of Jannah will eat when the people enter paradise? What is the first food they will be served and they will eat? Number 2, he asked him, how is it that a baby resembles its father or its mother? How is it that a baby resembles the father or the mother? And number 3, he asked, what was the third question? I forgot the third question. But anyway, the Prophet ﷺ answered him, saying to him, Jibreel has just come to me and told me the answers. When he said that, this man said, ذَاكَ عَدُوُّنَا مَعْشَرَ الْيَهُودِ. That person, Jibreel, is our enemy, we, the Jews. He said, that Jibreel you're talking about, he's our enemy. And Allah speaks about this in the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah. مَنْ كَانَ عَدُوًا لِجِبْرِيلَ. Now, because the Jews, they hate Jibreel. They like Mikael, they say. So the Prophet ﷺ said to him, right now Jibreel has come to me and told me the answer. He said, the first food which the people of Jannah will eat is the piece of the liver of the fish. The last part of the liver of the fish. Now, don't say this and that. If you don't like liver, it's not the same liver up there. Relax yourself. That's Jannah there. The liver of the fish, yes. Now again, maybe somehow we are all lost in translation, because at the end of the day we have to translate in English. Number 2, the second question he asked is what? How does the baby resemble the father or the mother? And the Prophet ﷺ, he said to him, if the water of the man overcomes the water of the woman, that is how the baby resembles the father. And if the water of the woman overcomes, is stronger. Today we call them chromosomes. Then the water of the woman, then that is how it resembles the woman. At the end of the day, Allahu A'lam, this is what the Prophet ﷺ is saying. What we do, what we don't do, what we can prove scientifical or not, that's besides the matter. And the third question actually which he asked him, he said, What is the first sign of the signs of the Day of Judgment? The first major sign. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, the great fire. The great fire which will take the people, all of them, to the area around Yemen. So when he said this man was called Hussein then, and the Prophet ﷺ said to him, what is your name? He said, Hussein. He said, no, your name is Abdullah. So then, from then he was called Abdullah bin Salam. He said, Ashhadu annaka Rasulullah. I bear witness that you are the real messenger of Allah. And then he said, Ya Rasulullah, O messenger of Allah. Inna al-Yahuda qawmun buht. These Jews, my people, they are very fraud-like people. They are never straightforward. Now I'm mentioning a story, historical facts in our religion. I am not inciting anti-Semitism or violence against Jews, or whatever you want to call it. He said, my people are very fraud-like. So when they come to you, ask them about me. So when they came to visit, he said to them, Ayyu rajula Abdullah bin Salam fikum. This man Abdullah bin Salam, who you know as Hussein, what kind of a man is he with you? And they said, Khayruna ibn khayrina. He is the best of us, the son of our best. Wa alimuna ibn alimina. And he is our scholar, the son of our scholar. So the Prophet ﷺ said to them, what if I told you he became Muslim, he followed me? They said, Ma'adha Allahu lahu min dhalik. May Allah protect him from that. When he said that, the Prophet ﷺ said, Ya Abdullah, come out. And he came out and he said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. I have followed this man, he's a real prophet. And they said, Anta sharruna ibn sharrina. You are the worst of us, the son of our worst. And the most ignorant, the son of the most ignorant. This is Abdullah ibn Salam, the way he accepted Islam. Now also during these days, this is when Ali ibn Abi Talib, like we said, he left Makkah and he arrived in Quba also. He migrated with his wife, whose name was, what was the name of Ali's wife at this time? Fatima? No, Ali was not married at this time. He was still single. He would marry Fatima after. He would marry Fatima after. He came alone. Also during this time, there's this great man called Salman al-Farisi. I think most of us have heard about him. And the way he accepted Islam. Now, I will delay this, because this is going to take the whole time we have. Because it's a long story, and it's a very amazing story, which we'll discuss in the next session, inshallah. This when Salman al-Farisi also accepted Islam. The Prophet ﷺ, he stayed for 14 days and then he left Quba. He left Quba and he gave a message. Ali was left in Makkah for two reasons, I said. One, to give back the trusts. I don't remember the second one, to be honest. Just make it one reason. The Prophet ﷺ, he sent a message. He said, I will stay with my people, the people of Banu Najjar, the tribe of An-Najjar. Why? We mentioned yesterday, we said because his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, his mom is from that tribe. So these were actually relatives of the Prophet ﷺ. So when the Prophet ﷺ, he left Quba going to Medina, 500 men who were fully armed, they came to take the Prophet ﷺ to Medina. It was a great event. Anas bin Malik, he says, the day the Prophet ﷺ came to Medina was the brightest and happiest day of all of our lives. Before he reached Medina though, it was on a Friday, when the time of Salah came, he stopped at the neighborhood of Banu Salim ibn Auf. He was staying with Banu Amr bin Auf. He stopped at Banu Salim bin Auf, and that's when the Muslims prayed the first Jum'ah prayer with the Prophet ﷺ in the neighborhood of Banu Salim bin Auf. The Prophet ﷺ, he entered Medina to great pomp and galore. The children were welcoming him, running the streets of Medina. Everybody used to come and try and get the camel of the Prophet ﷺ, saying, "Oh Messenger of Allah, come to me. Come to my house, it's your house." And he ﷺ would say, "خَلُّ سَبِيلَهَا فَإِنَّهَا مَأْمُورًا." Leave it. Leave the camel alone. It's being commanded. It knows where it's going. Allah is commanding this camel. Everybody would come and say, "Leave it." Until the camel is stopped at a place which we called, it belonged to two orphans. It belonged to two orphans. There the camel is settled, and the Prophet ﷺ, after he had told the people, "I will stay with Banu Najjar, the relatives of Abdul Muttalib, my grandfather," he stopped right there. And he said, "Who amongst our people, his house is the closest? Who amongst our people, his house is the closest?" And Abu Ayyub al-Ansari, he said, "Ana ya Rasulullah, hada dari, this is my house. This is my house." So the Prophet ﷺ, he got off his camel, and that is where he stayed, in the house of Abu Ayyub al-Ansari from the tribe of Banu Najjar. And that is where he stopped. That is the same piece of land which he will buy to make the Masjid of Medina, his Masjid. So that camel was commanded, like we said, Allah was commanding it. It knew where it's going to stop. It knew where it's going to stop. And we mentioned how Abu Bakr, he did not stay with the Prophet ﷺ. He went and stayed with Kharija bin Zayd. Kharija ibn Zayd in a place called Sunh, where later on, he would marry Kharija's daughter. Abu Ayyub al-Ansari, his house, he had two floors, like we said, the bottom floor, the ground floor, and the top floor. And they were on the top, but they could not be comfortable enough to be above the Prophet ﷺ. So he spoke to his wife Ayyub, and they said, "Tomorrow morning we'll tell the Prophet ﷺ to be above us." And you mentioned the story how the water spilled, and they had to cover it with their own bedding, the place where they were sleeping on. That is how much they loved the Prophet ﷺ. In the morning when they came and told the Prophet ﷺ, "We cannot take to be above you," the Prophet ﷺ said, "This is easy for me, for you, and for those people who come to meet me." Because everybody will come to meet the Prophet ﷺ. If I'm on the top floor, it's difficult for everybody to climb up. So this is easier for me. The Prophet ﷺ would stay there for 1 month in the house of Abu Ayyub. He would stay there for 1 month. During this month, or these few days, we're going to discuss the details. He sent Zayd ibn Harith with another man whose name has slipped my mind. Before we went to prayer, I've been trying to remember this name. I can't remember. But anyway, the Prophet ﷺ, he sent Zayd back to Makkah to bring his family. To bring his family. So Zayd went back to Makkah and he brought the Prophet's wife, who was who? Sauda bint Zam'a. And also Zayd brought his own wife, Ayman. Remember Ayman? She used to be she breastfed the Prophet ﷺ actually. Ayman was Zayd's wife. And their little boy Usama bin Zayd was very young. And the daughter of the Prophet ﷺ, Kulthum. They came together. And Fatima radiallahu anha. What about the other children of the Prophet ﷺ? What about Abdullah? Did he just leave him behind? Yes, say it again. Yeah, he had died already. We said how his children died when he was young. What about Al-Qasim? He had died already. Okay, what about the other girls though? What about Ruqayya? Ruqayya was married to Uthman. So she had migrated with her husband, Uthman, who had already migrated to Medina. So who's left? Zainab. So where was Zainab? Zainab was married to Sa'id ibn al-As, Sa'id ibn al-As, who was a mushrik. He was not a Muslim. He was not a Muslim yet, so he prevented Zainab from migrating. So Zainab stayed back in Makkah. Otherwise, the whole of the Prophet's family, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they went to Medina under Zayd. And also Zayd took the family of Abu Bakr, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's other wife, Aisha, and her mother Rumman, and Abdullah bin Abu Bakr, and Asma bint Abu Bakr. They also migrated together. This is the time they arrived in Medina. This is the time they arrived in Medina. So this is the Hijrah. I won't say in brief because it was not brief. It was in much detail. I forgot one very important detail though. Very important. That is after the actual Hijrah, the Prophet ﷺ, when he was leaving Makkah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to him the verse which says, وَقُلْ رَبِّ أَخْرِجْنِي مُخْرَجَ صِدْقٍ وَأَدْخِلْنِي مُدْخَلَ صِدْقٍ وَاجْعَلْ لِي مِنْ لَدُنْكَ سُلْطَانًا نَصِيرًا. In Surah Al-Isra. And say, oh my Lord, take me out a good way and return me or enter me in a good way and make for me from yourself clear victory. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also revealed to him. Allah said to him, إِنَّ الَّذِي فَرَضَ عَلَيْكَ الْقُرْآنَ لَرَادُّكَ إِلَى مَعَادٍ. The end of Surah Al-Qasas. The end of Surah Al-Qasas. Which means, surely the one who has brought down the Quran to you will bring you back to this land, meaning Makkah. Because the Prophet ﷺ was sad that he was leaving Makkah. When he left, when he was leaving, he turned around and he said, إِنَّكَ أَحَبُّ الْأَرْضِ إِلَى اللَّهِ. You are the most beloved earth to Allah and the most beloved earth to me, or land. And if it was not for the fact that your people have taken me out, I'll never leave. Most of you are young. Some of you are old. Those of you who are like me, who you left your homeland to come here, every day you dream of going back. Right or wrong? That is one thing which is just natural to a human being. The place you belong to, that will always be home. Now imagine if your home was Makkah, the most pure, the most blessed earth of Allah. So the Prophet ﷺ, he did not leave and he was happy. He was sad. He said these words, "You are the best land to Allah, and the best, most loved land to me. If your people did not take me out, I would never leave." And that is why Allah described the muhajirun, those who migrated. Allah described them as what? الَّذِينَ أُخْرِجُوا, those who were taken out. They were taken out. They did not leave Makkah by their own choice. They were being tortured, persecuted, even killed. We talked about the economic sanctions they put on them. For 3 years, they did not even sell food or buy food from them, and all of that. They were forced to leave. They were forced to leave. So this is something I missed yesterday and today I did not mention, so I had to mention it now. Now, we'll discuss some of the benefits or the lessons we learn from the Seerah. From the Hijrah, sorry. I keep saying Seerah. From the Hijrah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We'll start from the beginning and take it step by step. Number one, is what I just mentioned. They were forced to leave Makkah. They were forced to leave Makkah. So this migration, even though it was voluntary in some way, it was also not voluntary in some way. Number two, we see the status of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. The status, the position of Abu Bakr in Islam. And we mentioned yesterday this is shown in so many different ways. Number one, that he was chosen by Allah to be the one who accompanies his Prophet ﷺ in this greatest hijrah. Number two, we said it is shown by what? That he is the one who provided the animals which they're going to ride on. Number three, the participation of his family. His family was the one who prepared the food. Number four, he took all of his wealth, everything. He did not leave behind anything. Slowly? Okay. Number one. What was number one? Allah chose him. Number two, the animals. Number three, his family's participation in that. Tayyib. Number four, he took all of his wealth. And that is what they used to spend on the way, by the way. They used to spend that wealth of Abu Bakr. That is number four. Number five, we saw how Allah mentions him in the Quran because of all of this. ثَانِيَ اثْنَيْنِ إِذْ هُمَا فِي الْغَارِ. That second of the two. And that is the virtue and the status of Abu Bakr. That he's going, we read that verse of the Quran until the day of Qiyamah. Number six, we saw how he cared for the Prophet ﷺ. We saw how he would walk in front of him, then he would go behind him and walk in front of him. And when Suraq ibn Malik was coming, the Prophet was just reading Quran. He was not scared, but Abu Bakr was scared. He was always looking around. We saw how he went into the cave first to see if anything was there. All of this shows you the care he had for the Prophet ﷺ. Number three now. Was it 2 or 3, that one? That was 2, now it's 3. From the benefits of the Hijrah. The benefits of the Hijrah. 3. That was 6 under 2. That was 6 points under point number 2. That was all about Abu Bakr. Number 3 on what we learn in the Hijrah. The importance of planning. I mentioned that specifically. how many plans they made just to leave Makkah. How many plans did they make? Was it 7 or 8? 8. The first one was what? The planning. The Prophet ﷺ, living at night, very good. First is the animals. We said Abu Bakr had bought those animals 4 months ago. He was just feeding them, preparing them. They left at night. They planned with Abdullah bin Urayqit, the guide. And they planned with Amr bin Fuhaira, who will be bringing them the milk. And they planned with Abdullah bin Abu Bakr, who will bring them the secrets of what the Meccan people are saying. And then they planned to go south instead of north. And then they planned to stay in the cave for 3 days and nights. This is all planning. Which brings us to point number 4. You know, the high school, was it high school? No, the elementary school I went to, in Africa, not here. In the teacher's room, they had a huge sign which said, failing to plan is planning to fail. I'll never forget that. Failing to plan is planning to fail. You don't just do things, you're always spontaneous like that. No. Some things require planning, especially when your life is in danger. They're out to kill you. Right? So the Prophet ﷺ, he planned this trip. Number 4, which brings us to that point, the importance of Tawakul. The importance of Tawakul. What is Tawakul? I'm going to explain Tawakul now. Don't try it, just listen to me please. Don't try it. Tawakul in English, they translate it as relying on Allah or depending on Allah, which is all fine, but we need to understand what is Tawakul. The Hijrah, if there's one lesson we can learn, is all Tawakul. Tawakul is that your heart should be connected to Allah in everything which you want to achieve. Everything you want to achieve, your heart should be just connected to Allah. You know that nobody can bring this except Allah. Or if it's something you want to be removed, let's say you're sick, nobody can remove this except Allah. That is what Tawakul means. Nobody except Allah. When you can do that, then you have reached the status of Tawakul. Tawakul, it is for your heart to be connected to Allah. In fact, Shaykh Abdurrahman al-Sa'di, he says that Tawakul ruhul ibadah or ruhul tawheed. When you reach that state, then you have achieved what is tawheed, that you really believe in Allah. That you know nobody can benefit me, nobody can bring me harm except Allah. When your heart is attached, connected to Allah, then you will reach a status where the Prophet ﷺ and those who followed him, they reached. And the importance of Tawakul. Listen to the definition of Tawakul and the fruits of it. Allah says in the Quran, وَمَنْ يَتَوَكَّلَ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ. Whoever depends, has Tawakul, whoever relies on Allah, Allah is enough for him. Allah is enough for him. Now this is shown when they're in the cave and the people are right above them. Abu Bakr is afraid for the Prophet ﷺ, but the Prophet ﷺ is so calm. This is shown when Suraqa bin Malik is chasing them. Abu Bakr is looking around, the Prophet ﷺ is so calm, he's just reading the Quran. Because he knows the one who relies on Allah, Allah is enough for him. The Prophet ﷺ, to teach us Tawakul, he said, لو أنتم تتوكلون على الله حق توكل. If you relied on Allah the right way, the right Tawakul, لرزقكم, Allah will provide for you. Because we lose our Tawakul mostly when the dollars come about. Your heart is more attached to your boss, supervisor, resume than Allah. If you relied on Allah, the right Tawakul, the Prophet ﷺ says, Allah will provide for you just like He provides for the bird. The bird leaves in the morning from its nest. It doesn't have a nice house with a roof and heating and insulation like you have. It doesn't have a fridge and a bank account. It leaves. تَغْدُو خِمَاصًا, the bird leaves, empty stomach, nothing. وَتَرُوحُ بِطَانًا, it comes back, it is full and it brings food for its babies. Why does the Prophet ﷺ give us the parable of the bird? Because like I told you, a bird is the simplest of all animals. Simple. Yet the bird has real tawakkul. It flies out empty, it comes back full. Why? Because it's real tawakkul. Tawakkul though, like I told you, the whole Hijrah is the definition of tawakkul. It does not mean you leave off the means and the reasons for achieving whatever you want to achieve. So, the Prophet ﷺ, he did not just get out of his house and say, I'm the Prophet of Allah, I have tawakkul, nobody will touch me. No, that's not tawakkul. You have to take the means to achieve what you need. You understand? But at the same time, and before that, and after that, you know that this is just a means. Everything, my heart is connected to who? Is just Allah. If Allah wants the means to work, it will work. If He doesn't want, it will never work. So when you become sick, don't say, you know what, I have tawakkul. No. You take the medicine you need to take. You go to the doctor you need to see. And at the same time, your heart, where is it connected? Is with Allah. You know that if I saw the best specialist in this world, and if I paid $1 million for the best medication and treatment, if Allah does not want it to happen, it will never happen. Your heart is connected to Allah, not to the reasons. But tawakkul does not mean don't take reasons, no. That is foolishness. So the Prophet ﷺ, that's why I emphasize on these plans. 8 steps. Leave at night. Prepare the animals already. Go and hide in the cave. Go south instead of north. Hide in the cave for 3 days. Oh, we're going to die though if we don't eat and drink for 3 days. Okay, Amr bin Fuhaira will bring the food. What about the planning they do? Abdullah will bring us the news. What about how do we get to Medina? We'll employ someone who will show us the way to Medina. And he's an expert, so he doesn't take the normal route. All of this is tawakkul. You take the means, and at the same time your heart is only and always attached to Allah. That is why later on in Medina, when they had the Masjid, and the man came to visit the Prophet ﷺ, and he said, O Messenger of Allah, I have my camel. Arbutuha, should I tie it? Or should I leave it and have tawakkul? Like I told you, the camel is crazy. You leave the camel, it will take off to, I don't know, Montreal or something, from Ottawa. The Prophet ﷺ said, no, tie it and have tawakkul. Tie the camel, and then that is tawakkul now. You want to have children, don't just sit at home, sleeping in your mom's basement, basement, whatever. You're 45 years old, say, inshallah, Allah will give me a wife, I have tawakkul. No, and children, no. It doesn't happen like that. They don't rain from the sky, wives and children. You want a job, you have to go and look for a job, whether it is sending resumes, whether it is going for an interview, whatever it is. At the same time, you go there, you don't rely on those people. You don't feel your rizq is in their hands, no. But you do what you have to do and leave the rest to Allah. That is the best way to put it. You do what you have to do and leave the rest to Allah. And that is how the Prophet ﷺ lived his life. And that is the greatest lesson you get from the Hijrah. That is tawakkul. And Allah has promised, whoever relies on Allah, Allah is enough for him, meaning Allah will take care of you. But many of us, we lack in our tawakkul. big time. And Tawakul can only come, the true Tawakul, with the knowledge of Allah. The more you study your religion, you know what Allah wants and who is Allah, then the more the Tawakkul you'll have. That is the only way. The more ibadah you do, you give more charity, you fast more, you pray more, voluntary praying, you make dua more, you do a lot of dhikr. That is how Tawakkul is going, because you are connected to Allah. You are connected to Allah. And that is why Allah gives us the stories of the Prophet ﷺ and the prophets before. They had real tawakkul, like in terms of real danger, like very bad situations. Musa ﷺ, he is sent to Fir'aun and his people. He calls them to Islam. They refuse. He shows them miracles. They still kill Banu Israel. Then Musa is given permission, okay, live with Banu Israel. They cross the desert at night also, by the way. They are told to leave at night. And they leave crossing the desert going to Al-Quds, Jerusalem. Of course, they hit the Red Sea. What do we do now? Oh, on this other hand, Fir'aun had woken up in the morning. He said, today we'll gather all of my troops. And Allah described Fir'aun, he had great troops. So Fir'aun dhil awtad. He had great troops. They said, today we are going to kill all of them, Musa and everybody. They were coming. Banu Israel are faced with the sea, and Fir'aun was coming. They looked behind them, they said, Inna la mudrakun. Musa, what do you do to us? Today all of us are going to be slaughtered. What did Musa say to them? Yes, I'm sorry. No. Calm. He said, Kalla, never. Inna ma'i rabbi sayahdin. I have my God, is going to guide me. He did not say, I have my God, He's going to take care of me. It's more than that. He's going to guide me, what is good, what is bad, where to go, where not to go. And Allah said to him, hit the ocean or the sea, sorry. And it split. That is Tawakkul. Ibrahim alayhi salam, he was a young man, like you guys, young man. He called his people to Tawheed, stop worshipping idols. Idols don't benefit, don't bring any harms, don't bring any benefit. Worship only Allah, He's the only one who provides for you. They did not listen, he showed them practically. He took an axe and he went and broke all of those other idols. Then left the axe with the big idol, right or wrong? When they came back, they said, who did this? They said, there's a boy, قالوا سمعنا فتى, a young man. He always talks about our gods, false gods, idols. They said, bring him. They brought him. أنت فعلت هذا إبراهيم بآلهتنا إبراهيم. You did this to our gods? He said, why are you asking me? Ask him. He's the one carrying the axe, the big one. Why are you asking me? Right? It's basic level, practical demonstration. They came back to their senses and they said, oh, you know what? That's true. These things can't even talk. How can they be gods? These things could not even help themselves against a young man. How can they be gods? ثُمَّ نُكِسُوا عَلَى رُؤُوسِهِمْ. Then the shaitan overcame them again. They turned upside down. They said, no. You know what we're going to do to you, Ibrahim? We'll build a fire. They didn't light a fire. They built a house of wood and then they turned it up in fire. It was a built fire. And then we're going to throw you because it's such a huge fire, we can't be close to it. My point is, when they threw Ibrahim into the fire, as in Sahih al-Bukhari, Ibn Abbas he says, the only thing Ibrahim he said was, Hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakil. Hasbi Allah, Allah is enough for me. Wa ni'mal wakil, and is the best wakil, the one who takes care of affairs. That is the only thing Ibrahim he said. And Allah turned the fire into what? What does Allah say? قُلْنَا يَا نَارُ كُونِي بَرْدًا وَسَلَامًا. We said, oh fire, be cool and do not harm Ibrahim. Hasbi Allah, Allah is enough for me. وَمَنْ يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ. Whoever depends on Allah, He is enough for him. That is Tawakkul. That is Tawakkul. When you have Allah, you have everything. When you don't have Allah, you have nothing. And that is why we'll see later on the Prophet ﷺ used to teach the young Muslims this. Because when you are taught this from young, you become one of the best Muslims. The hadith of Ibn Abbas, he says, I was riding with the Prophet ﷺ on the same camel or the same donkey. And he said to me, Ya ghulam, O young man. The Prophet ﷺ, he either called someone, you're a boy, you're young, or you're a young man. This terminology of youth is new. And the purpose of it is to make people sleep. You're a youth until you're what? 35, you're still a youth. Youth translates to useless these days. That's the reality. I'm sorry to tell you that. You'll see. They were either called boys or young men. Simple. Ibn Abbas was 13 years old or 12 years old. And the Prophet is calling him young man. Usama, we just mentioned Usama. He was brought to Medina, by his father. When he was 16, or 18. The Prophet put him in charge of an army. Under that army was Abu Bakr and Umar. 18-year-old is leading all of them. We know Surah Al-Kahf. Every Friday we read Surah Al-Kahf. Who are those who went into the Kahf, the cave? Fityatun, young man. Today we translate Fitya as youth. Do you understand me? Ibrahim, when he cleaned up those idols and broke them, they said Fatan, young man. Today we translate as youth. Anyway, that's besides the point, but keep it in your mind. What was I saying? I know it's Tawakul, sister, more specific. Very good. The Prophet ﷺ was riding with Ibn Abbas. Ibn Abbas, he said, the Prophet ﷺ said to me, Ya ghulam, O young man, inni u'allimuka kalimat, I'll teach you some words. Ihfadillaha yahfaduk. Be obedient to Allah. Do what you have to do and stay away from what you're not supposed to do. And Allah will protect you. Ihfadillaha tajidhu tujahak. Be obedient to Allah. Do what you're supposed to do. Stay away from what you're not supposed to do. And Allah will always guide you. وَعْلَمْ وَإِذَا سَأَلْتَ فَاسْأَلِ اللَّهِ. When you ask, you only ask Allah. وَإِذَا اسْتَعَنْتَ. When you seek help, فَاسْتَعِنْ بِاللَّهِ. Only seek help from Allah. And that is what you say every salah. إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينَ. Only you we worship, only you we seek help. But do we actually do it or we just read it? When you seek help, only seek help from Allah. وَعْلَمْ, and you should know, as a young man, you should know from that age, أَنَّ الْأُمَّةِ, that the whole population of the earth, لَوْ اجْتَمَعَتْ, if they all came together. How many people exist on earth today? Almost 8 billion. If they all came together, عَلَىٰ أَن يَنْفَعُوكَ بِشَيْءٍ, to benefit you in something, they made a huge meeting of 8 billion people, which is almost impossible. To help you in one thing, they cannot give you that thing except if Allah wants it. And if they all came together to try to harm you, nobody can harm you, even 8 billion people, except if Allah wants that harm to come to you. Imagine children who grow up on this aqidah, on these teachings. That is why Usama, at 18 years old, was the leader of an army, going to face the Romans, who everybody feared, because he grew up on this. And that is why I'm sorry if you get offended, that's your business. That is why we grew up as cowards. And why our Islam is weak. Because sadly, may Allah forgive our parents, they never taught us. Maybe they didn't know themselves. And us as parents today, we know, but we don't even teach our children. And this is basic Islam. This is Islam, Tawheed. That everything is in the hands of Allah alone. That is why you say every day, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil. You know what it means? All perfect praise belongs to Allah because He's the Lord, Rabb of Alameen. Everything is His. It all belongs to Him. He's the only one in control. That's what it means. That is what it means. When you stand up to say, that's what we should feel. I'm praising you, Allah, because everything is in your hands. And yet, He is also ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, the most merciful. So, at-Tawakul, it is very important. It is very important. Look at this. Who knows the dua you say when you leave your house? You say Bismillah and you leave your house with the left leg. You say Bismillah, Tawakkaltu ala Allah. Wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. Everybody should memorize this. So easy. When you leave your house, you young man, I want you to listen to me. When you leave your house with the left leg and you say Bismillah, Tawakkaltu ala Allah, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. It's simple. Bismillah, by the name of Allah. We do everything Bismillah, seeking Allah's blessings. Tawakkaltu ala Allah, I depend and I rely on Allah. Allah will take care of me. Wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. There's no might, there's no strength to do anything except by Allah. You leave your house, which is safe and nice and comfortable, to go to the outside world, which you don't know what you'll face. And right when you leave, you say, I leave everything in your hands, Ya Rabb. Real tawakkul. Now listen to what the Prophet ﷺ said. He said, when a man leaves his house, and he said, Bismillah, Tawakkaltu ala Allah, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Yuqalu lahu, there's an angel who says to him, Hudita, wa wuqita wa kufita. You've been guided, and you've been protected, and you've been sufficed. You've been guided to say this dua, and you've been protected, and you've been sufficed. Allah is sufficient for you. And no shaitan can approach him. Any shaitan, devil who approaches him, the others say to him, how can you do anything to one who has been protected, guided, and is sufficed by Allah? Look how 3 statements, which are easy, but they're so important in your life. Bismillah, Tawakkaltu ala Allah, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Whenever you leave your home, Tawakkul. Tawakkul is very important. That was number 4 or number 3? 4. Okay. Number 5. I see they handed out some schedules to you, the breakdown. What time was supposed to stop? 45? That's in the past now. Now I'll take 5 more minutes if you don't mind. Right? 5 more minutes. Number 5. Guys, make up your mind. Is it 4, 5, or 6? Okay, 5. Number 5, from the lessons we get from the Hijrah, it is okay to do business dealings with non-Muslims. It is okay to do business dealings with non-Muslims. We live in a world where today we have Muslims who are crazy, ignorant, that they have reached at that level. Muslims who are crazy and ignorant. They have reached that level. They say every kafir, every non-Muslim you meet, you should kill him. In which religion? Which religion tells you that? Even Iblis did not say that. Even the shaitan himself never said that. Which religion taught you that? Look at this. The Prophet ﷺ in the most dangerous time of his life, the most dangerous time of his life, he employs a non-Muslim to show him the way. And if you want to base on that, when he died, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his body armor was still pawned with who? A Jewish man, because he bought food, he did not have money to pay for the food, so he gave him his body armor until he could pay for the food. There's nothing wrong with doing business dealings with those who are not Muslims. Islam does not say kill, kill. No, no, that's not Islam, man. No. Number 6. And we said we don't know Abdullah bin Urayqit, did he become Muslim or not? We don't know. I don't know personally. I don't know. But he was a trustworthy man and they employed him on their journey. Number 6, which is based on that, leave the experts to their jobs. Leave the experts to their job. What does that mean? It means the Prophet ﷺ, is he an expert in the roads and the routes? Where to go, where not to go? No, he's not. He's a prophet. Is Abu Bakr an expert in how to go, where to hide? No. That is why they employed someone, that is his job. Do you understand me? Yeah, that's what you do. But some of us, mashallah, we are muftis. Everybody here is a mufti. Everybody gives fatwa here. I know. When you sit with each other, no, that's haram. You'll answer one day. We are muftis. We are all mechanics. We are all computer experts. We are all great politicians. We are all great chefs, for the women at least. You know, we are all great, the greatest parents. We all give advice to other people. No. Know who you are. Oh, we are all doctors, we all prescribe medicine, by the way. All of us. Oh, this one is good for you, it will help you. No. Leave the experts to their job. You are sick, go see a real doctor. Don't call your friend. Don't do that. Say, oh, Fulan, mashallah, she has a cabinet in her house full of medicine. No, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Leave the experts to their job. And this is what Islam teaches us actually. I said 5 minutes. So we'll stop here because I see the food is here, right? We'll continue after Maghrib, inshaAllah. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik, shalla la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.
Allah, Allah.